Good morning, students. In this video, I shall discuss the new topic, that is transport. It is another important life process which occur in the organism. Now, what is transport and what is the need of this transport? Normally, the movement of substances or movement of materials from one part of the body to another part, that is called the transport. And why it is required? What is the need of this transport? Because the substances which are required in a particular part of the organism, they are not actually available there. Sometimes they are taken from the outside, and when they are enter into the body, suppose oxygen. Oxygen enters into the lungs, but it is required in each and every cell. Then from the lungs, the oxygen must be transported to each and every cell for the function or for releasing energy from the food. So that is why the transport is essential not only for oxygen, for nutrients, because nutrients is also very much essential in each and every cell. So that is why there are so many other substances like your hormones and so many other metabolites. They are required everywhere, but they enter into the body in a particular position. The site of production or site of entry and the site of action, these are two different things, and the site of entry or the site of production and the site of action are not same. So that is why transport is essential for each and every organism for functioning and supply of the material to that particular place. Now, next is the transport system. In each and every organism, the need of transport is essential. That is why there are some transport systems you will find in the organism. In case of lower organisms, the cytoplasm or streaming movement or cytoplasmic movement, it normally transports the materials, unicellular organisms like amoeba. But in case of higher plants and animals, there are specific systems are present. And in this chapter, we shall discuss about the transport system in plants. In higher plants particularly, the water is there in the soil, it enters into the root, but it is essential in the leaf. So how the water will be absorbed from the soil to the root, and from the root how it will reach to the tip of the plant, the leaves of the plant. So that is why there must be some systems involved in this process, and this system is called the transport system. Now first we shall discuss about the transport system in plant. Normally the xylem and the phloem, these are the important tissues which are present in the plant, which helps in the transport of substances from one part to another. Particularly the xylem, it transports the water and minerals from root to the different parts of the plant. The phloem transports the prepared food material from the leaf to the different parts of the plant. So that is why the xylem, they consist of different types of cells, and the phloem, it also consists of different types of cells. That is why these are called the complex tissue or complex permanent tissue. Now this is called the vascular system, and in case of plant, this system is very well developed. So that is why it transports the materials from one place to another. Mostly the xylem transport water and minerals, and phloem transport the prepared food materials and other hormones. Now, how? Actually, xylem and phloem, these are the pipes or the pipeline mode of transport, you can say. These are the pipelines are there, but without pressure or without force, the fluid cannot move. So that is why how the force is created and how they are absorbed. So here, the absorption of water and minerals from soil to the root or xylem of the root. So this is called the absorption of water. What is the mechanism behind it? How the water is absorbed from the soil to the root xylem. That is the diffusion process, or it is called particularly the osmosis process. And what are the different cells involved here? We shall study in detail. Now, next, how the water actually reaches to the tip of the plant. Suppose it is absorbed from the soil to the root, and from the root some plants are 200, 300 feet tall. So how the water actually reach to the 200 and 300 feet tall plant? So what is the mechanism behind it? That is called the ascent of sap. And for this ascent of sap, there is some sort of pressure or force, you can say, which actually help to reach the water to the top of the plant. So what are the important forces? That is the transpiration force, root pressure force, and there is the capillarity force, then cohesive adhesive force, like that. So all these forces, they combiningly, they help in the movement of water from the root to the tip of the plant against the force of gravity. Now, another movement that is called the translocation, the movement of the prepared food material from the phloem to the different parts of the plant, because the food materials are no doubt prepared there in the leaves, but they are required in each and every part of the plant. It may be your fruit, it may be your flower, it may be your root or stem, whatever may be. Everywhere the food is required, so that is why it must be transported to each and every part, and the phloem normally helps in this process, and we shall study in detail about it. Now next one, we shall study the transport system in human being, the most developed animal in the earth. How the materials are transported in case of human being. We shall study in two headings. First, we shall study the system, and then the mechanism. Then the mode of transport actually occurs through a particular system. And here the system is the pipeline mode of transport system, because there are certain pipelines. It's the cheapest mode of transport, and inside the pipeline there is certain fluid. The pipelines are normally the blood vessels. It may be your arteries, it may be veins or capillaries. These are the pipelines present throughout the body. And inside the pipes there are certain fluid, and the blood and lymph. These are the two important fluids. The blood actually transported through the blood vessels, but without pressure, how the fluid can be transported? So that is why the heart is the most important organ. It helps in the movement of the blood throughout the body, or circulation of the blood throughout the body. We shall study in detail about the structure of the heart, what are the different chambers of the heart, and how blood enters into the heart, and how the blood leaves the heart, how it goes to the lungs, and how oxygen is mixed with there, and how the oxygenated blood again return back to the heart, and how it is transported to the different parts of the body, and how the exchange of oxygen occurs there. Again, the carbon dioxide rich blood reaches to the heart. So this type of processes occur there. Now, the lymphatic system, the lymph is another fluid like blood, and this lymph is normally not circulating, but they are flowing. So that is why the lymph is flows through the lymph vessels and lymph capillaries, and the lymph nodes, they normally secrete the lymph fluid, and lymph fluid contains certain cells. Now we shall study in detail about the lymph, what are the important functions of the lymph, how the lymph actually transport the material from one part to another. Now we shall study in detail about the blood, blood vessels and heart. Blood, what is the composition of the blood, what are the important functions of the blood. Then we shall study the mechanism. Now what is the mechanism of transport, or the mechanism of circulation of the blood throughout the body. Now, no doubt the blood vessels are there, these are the pipelines, and the blood is there, this is the fluid, and the force is created by the heart, and due to which the blood is circulating throughout the body. But the circulation of the blood are of two types, that is the pulmonary circulation and systemic circulation. So that is why it is called double circulation. The blood enters the heart twice and leaves the heart twice. Now first one, the blood goes to the lungs and oxygen mixed with the blood. Now the deoxygenated blood converted into the oxygenated blood. Then oxygenated blood again returned to the heart, and which part of the heart actually it enters. Then it goes to the ventricle or the lower part, and from the ventricle then the systemic aorta transport the oxygenated blood to each and every part of the body. So that is called systemic circulation. So the pulmonary circulation, blood goes to the lungs and again return back to the heart. And systemic circulation, blood goes to the different parts of the body and again return back to the heart. So that is why two circulations occur, and that is why it is called double circulation. And how this double circulation occurs and what are the advantages of this double circulation, we shall study in detail about these circulation processes and its advantage to the human being. There's a clear separation of the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood, and it is one of the most advantageous process for human being. Now, we shall study some extra knowledge about this heart. That is what is heartbeat. When we go to the doctor use the stethoscope to hear the sound. Then lob, dop, this sound is observed. And how this sound is produced? And this sound which is produced, it is due to the closure of the valves. It is the arterioventricular valve, semilunar valve, and when these valves close, actually the sound is produced. And this is called heartbeat. And what is the number of heartbeats per minute? We shall study in detail. Then, next one, the pulse rate. When we are going to the doctor, sometimes they normally just see the pulse rate. What is the pulse rate and what is the relationship between the heartbeat and pulse rate? The heartbeat, it is 72 times per minute in case of normal human being. Now the pulse rate is also same. When the ventricle contracts, the blood flows throughout the body and this pulse is observed there in the artery. So that is why this pulse rate is same to the number of heartbeats. Next, we shall study about the blood pressure. It is a fluid, it is circulating throughout the body. So that is why there must be some pressure there. Without pressure, it cannot flow. So that is why what is the systolic pressure? When the ventricle contracts, the pressure is more, that is called the systolic pressure. And when it is relaxed, then at that time also blood flows, that is the relaxation pressure, or it is called the diastolic pressure. Now, what is the normal blood pressure in case of human being? It is 120 by 80. 120 is the systolic pressure and 80 is the diastolic pressure, like that. So what is the instrument actually used to measure this blood pressure? That is the sphygmomanometer. When you go to the doctor to measure the blood pressure, the instrument is used by them. What is the mechanism or principle behind this and how this pressure is actually measured there. So we shall study all these things here in this transport chapter. Now, this much for the day. We shall discuss in detail one by one in the next video, and I hope this video is useful for you, and if it is really useful for you, then please like it and subscribe for further videos. Thank you very much.